Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
Port Charles was already on edge as the courthouse doors opened that morning, but no one, absolutely no one, was prepared for the emotional earthquake that would soon tear through the courtroom. What began as a tense legal proceeding quickly transformed into a moment that would reshape lives, fracture families, and expose a secret buried far deeper than anyone imagined. At the heart of it all stood Danny Morgan, a young man whose unexpected arrival would silence the room and send shockwaves through every corner of Port Charles. The courtroom buzzed with hushed whispers as attorneys shuffled papers and the judge took their seat. Tension hung thick in the air. This case already carried massive implications, but emotions were running especially high due to what was at stake: freedom, loyalty, and long-suppressed truths. Outside the courthouse, loved ones gathered, some offering quiet prayers, others bracing for the worst. Inside, familiar faces filled the benches. Carly Corinthos sat stiffly, her jaw clenched, trying to project strength while fear flickered behind her eyes. Jason Morgan stood nearby, silent and unreadable, his presence steady but his thoughts clearly elsewhere. Sam McCall watched the room carefully, her instincts screaming that something was about to go terribly wrong, or incredibly right. No one expected Danny. Just as the prosecution prepared to call its next witness, the courtroom doors swung open. Gasps rippled through the room. Danny Morgan stepped inside. For a heartbeat, time froze. The judge paused. Attorneys stared. Carly's breath caught in her throat. Jason's eyes widened just slightly, enough to betray shock. Sam shot to her feet, her heart racing as disbelief washed over her. Danny wasn't scheduled to testify. No one had called him. No one even knew he was there. And yet, with a determination far beyond his years, Danny walked forward, his expression solemn, his hands trembling, but his resolve unshakable. The judge attempted to restore order, but Danny spoke before anyone could stop him. He didn't shout. He didn't cry. He simply told the truth. Danny explained that he couldn't stay silent anymore. That what he knew, what he had seen, heard, and carried inside, was too important. Too dangerous to keep buried. Sam tried to intervene, panic flashing across her face, but Danny turned to her, offering a look filled with love and apology. "I have to do this," his eyes seemed to say. Jason stiffened, sensing where this was heading. Carly whispered Danny's name, her voice barely audible. The courtroom leaned in. Danny revealed that on the night everything went wrong, the night that had led to the charges, the accusations, the chaos, he had been awake. He hadn't been asleep in his room like everyone assumed. He had seen someone. Not the person on trial. Someone else. Danny described overhearing a heated argument, one filled with threats and desperation. He spoke of shadows, raised voices, and a moment that had haunted his dreams ever since. His voice shook as he explained that fear had kept him silent, fear of getting someone he loved hurt, fear of tearing his family apart. But guilt had finally outweighed fear. The real bombshell came next. Danny named the person he saw leaving the scene. A collective gasp echoed through the courtroom. The accused wasn't guilty. They had been protecting someone else. The courtroom erupted. The judge slammed the gavel repeatedly, demanding order. The prosecution scrambled, blindsided by testimony they hadn't anticipated. The defense attorney's eyes lit up with sudden hope. Carly pressed a hand to her mouth, tears streaming down her face, tears of shock, relief, and terror all at once. Jason stared straight ahead, his expression darkening as the implications sank in. He knew Danny was telling the truth. And he knew what it would cost. Sam broke down, torn between pride in her son's courage and fear for his safety. Because in Port Charles, secrets don't stay buried, and telling the truth often comes with consequences. During a recess, Danny was surrounded, not by reporters, but by family. Jason knelt in front of him, placing a steady hand on Danny's shoulder. He didn't say much. He didn't have to. His eyes conveyed everything: respect, pride, and a silent promise of protection. Sam hugged her son tightly, whispering that she loved him, that she was proud of him for being brave even when it was terrifying. Even Carly, shaken as she was, offered Danny encouraging words, reminding him that telling the truth, no matter how painful, was the right thing to do. Across the room, other familiar faces watched with mixed emotions. Some felt hope for justice. Others felt the creeping dread of exposure. Not everyone was inspired by Danny's testimony. Some were furious. As word of the revelation spread, dark looks were exchanged. Whispers turned sharp. Phones buzzed with urgent messages. Someone had been exposed. And they were not going to take it quietly. Outside the courthouse, tensions flared. Voices rose. Accusations flew. One furious figure was overheard issuing a chilling warning, promising that Danny's actions would not go unanswered. In Port Charles, retaliation is rarely immediate. But it is always inevitable. Back inside, the judge ruled that Danny's testimony would be entered into the record, despite objections. The prosecution demanded time to regroup. The defense pushed hard, sensing momentum shifting dramatically. The case was no longer straightforward. It was a powder keg. Every person connected to it now found themselves at risk, legally, emotionally, and physically. Jason knew the truth would set someone free, but it might also paint a target on Danny's back. Sam realized her worst fear had come true, her son was now part of the battlefield. Carly understood that the past she'd fought so hard to protect was unraveling in real time. As the courthouse emptied, the weight of what had happened settled heavily over Port Charles. Danny had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. The truth was out. Justice was closer, but danger loomed larger than ever. Would the real culprit be exposed? Would Danny be safe from retaliation? And how far would someone go to silence a truth-teller? One thing was certain. Port Charles will never be the same after Danny's shocking court appearance. This wasn't just testimony. It was a baptism by fire. And the fallout has only just begun. Britt and Brad met at Café Sherry for regale. They ordered a bottle of champagne as the subject turned to Lucas. Britt told Brad that he's better off without Lucas, who made her work life hell. Britt caught Brad up on what happened after everyone allowed. She had failed. She indeed allowed. She was a goner, but also woke up at a 5-star resort in Croatia. She explained that people who worked for Faison had smuggled her out of the country so she could dissect data on cold emulsion. Britt was happy to have been given the experimental medicine, but also she told him there was one catch. Her work was in violation of several transnational arms covenants. That sounds like a small price to pay for your health, Brad assessed. She also informed Brad that Sidwell was giving up most of the orders. Is not that Lucas Swain's father? Brad asked. A drunk Britt indeed told Brad about ending up with a lemon strapped to her ankle. But also I got lucky, and Jason came to my deliverance, Britt said with a smile and comforting look in her eyes. Brad allowed. It was a little too accessible when Britt bare that her drug had miraculously appeared on her bed in Port Charles. So, I am still working for Sidwell and that little critter Pascal, Britt admitted. By the end of the night, both Brad and Britt realized that neither one of them had to plutocrat to pay for this precious regale. Anna woke to the sound of Pascal's French words over a loudspeaker telling her to face the wall so he could bring in her lunch. Anna faced the two-way glass as told, so Pascal placed a charger of food on the table. She asked Pascal in French why he allowed her to have the tablet. Pascal refused to answer and left. After Anna had finished her mess, she was scarified to find commodity taped to the bottom of the charger. Anna precisely opened a soft brown package to find Faison's book, The Crystalline Conspiracy. The necrology read, "For my poet." See. Anna threw the book across the room in frustration. Jack stopped by Carly's house to give her a beautiful choker as an early Christmas present. Jack mentioned that he tried to find her at the Metro Court, but she had not been there for many days. "What has been keeping you home?" he asked. Carly claimed she just loved being at home for the leaves. Jack mentioned that Lulu was not making their hunt for Valentine any easier by putting up a wall between him and Charlotte. Carly offered to talk to Lulu, but Jack did not want to involve her. Valentine will communicate Charlotte, if he hasn't formerly, Jack said. Still, Carly said she could just mention to Lulu that Jack would keep Charlotte safe. Consider it my early Christmas present, she said. When Jack was gone, Valentine appeared. Carly told Valentine that Jack was worried because Lulu wouldn't let him talk to Charlotte. Valentine dissented when Carly said that she believed Jack wanted to keep Charlotte safe. Valentine asked Carly how she and Jack came close. Carly explained how she'd visit Jack in Pentonville to learn how Jason could get out from under the FBI's thumb, as well as how she'd not be charged with wrongdoing. Carly was surprised to learn that Jack made the substantiation against Carly evaporate. She realized Jack had been using her and wanted her gratefulness. Lulu took a break from courtroom conditioning to head to her house and thank Nathan for bringing Charlotte home from academy. Lulu was thankful for Nathan's fellowship as she told him about the heart-to-heart discussion she had with Charlotte the day ahead. No matter what I do, I cannot shake the fear that Valentine will show up and Charlotte will go with him and there is nothing I can do to stop her, Lulu said. She was surprised when Nathan told her Charlotte had spoken of how great her mama had been about the Valentine situation. Just also, Jack appeared at the door and asked to speak with Lulu in private. Lulu told Nathan he could stay. When Jack hovered to haul Lulu into his office for questioning if he did not let her speak to Charlotte, Lulu said, "In that case, you are going to have to take me in." Jack tried to scarify Lulu into cooperating, telling her that Charlotte would end up on the run with Valentine again and hunted down by law enforcement. What kind of a mama would let their son be contributory damage? Jack also blazoned that he was going to be the one to save Charlotte's life, giving Lulu food for study. Lulu formally again asked Jack to leave. Jack remarked that Lulu trusted Nathan too important for someone who showed up out of the blue after 7 times of being presumed dead. He might like to go by the name West, but his real name is and always will be Faison, Jack sniggered. Jocelyn opened her frontal door to drink Jason in. She asked what he was doing there, so he held up his phone with a question, "Did you sweep for bugs?" She had, so they began talking. Jason told Jocelyn nothing could know he was there. Joss was scarified when Jason asked for an update on the disquisition into the 5 poppies. Jocelyn said she could not tell him that. "I need to know how the 5 poppies ties into Sidwell, Dalton, and Faison," he said. Jocelyn incontinently told Jason no way. She was willing to commit disloyalty. Joss admitted that she was having alternate studies about the WSB now that Vaughn had faded. "Now that he is gone, I trust him a lot further than I trust Brennan. Brennan has one thing in mind and it has to do with Sidwell and Faison's final design. I am not a person to him. Neither is Britt. We are just tools he is using to reach his ideal," Joss said. Ultimately, Jocelyn decided she could trust her own godfather, Jason, over Jack Brennan. In the courtroom, Alexis counseled Willow as Dante returned after opening statements. Dante told Justine there had been a security breach, and the business cam videotape was gone. The judge returned to begin proceedings. Justine called Tracy to the stage as her first substantiation. Tracy described the moment she set up Drew on the bottom of his house in a pool of blood, including her conduct that followed. Justine asked if Tracy had moved the softball club set up on the bottom. She said she had not. Also, Alexis cross-questioned. She asked why Tracy drove through a storm to visit Drew. "I was not there to visit. I was there to give him a piece of my mind," Tracy declared. Tracy explained she wanted to take Drew to task for having Stella arrested. "It was an abuse of power," Tracy said. Alexis asked if Tracy had seen Willow in the vicinity of Drew's house. Tracy had not. Nina was the coming substantiation. She admitted to lying to give Willow in justification, to which Willow did expostulate. Justine asked why Nina had prevaricated. "Because I wanted to cover my son from a witch quest like she's going through right now," Nina stated. When Alexis cross-questioned, Nina told the court that Willow no way asked for in justification, but only went on with it to give Nina in justification, just in case. Justine also asked for a recess, so Michael took the occasion to talk to Curtis about his arrest. After the recess, Justine called Dante to the stage and he explained how the PCPD set up the gun that shot Drew. We explosively believe that Willow's knowledge of the property led her to being suitable to sneak onto the estate. We believe Willow left the sanitarium medial shift, drove to Drew Kane's house, let herself in with the key, and used the gun she took from the Quartermain estate to shoot him doubly in the reverse, Dante said. Dante also told the jury that they could place Willow's cell phone within a 5-far compass of Drew's house, as well as business cam footage. Justine tried to submit stills from the business footage, but Alexis expostulated. The attorneys approached the bench, where Justine admitted the original footage was missing. Alexis argued that the images could be AI, so the judge ruled they were inadmissible. Alexis also got Dante to admit there were multiple other suspects, and that there were also multiple people at the Q estate who could have taken the gun. One could argue that Michael Corinthos had means, motive, and occasion to shoot Drew Kane, Alexis said. Dante concurred. Christina walked in as Alexis asked Dante if he'd ever considered Michael to be a suspect. When Dante stepped down, Justine called Christina to the stage.